City of Camdenton and their FBO lease agreement with Lake Aviation for the Camdenton Airport, right? The meeting was Tuesday, September 16th, and it was well attended, and the real topic of discussion was the Camdenton Airport's FBO lease agreement extension, which had been motioned at a previous meeting by Alderman Eric Faes through December of 2026, which was about 7 months further than it was initially in the lease with Lake Aviation. And this new extension that was listed and put into the agenda for this Tuesday meeting had 5 different bullets, and Corey Lewerke with Lake Aviation expressed concern with some of the added stipulations with that extension. Amanda Hayes spoke on the issue along with pilots and airport people who have hangars and fly in and out of different airports. And in the middle of all of this, there was just open dialogue. It wasn't real heated, right? It was very calm.
Good.
Alderman Eric Faes motioned that they should extend the agreement as currently listed, as that was his initial motion. Wasn't to go back to the lease and add stipulations and new things into it. And so he motioned that, and there was some uncertainty from the mayor and the city administrator, Jeff Hooker. And so City Attorney Phil Morgan said, well, there is a motion on the floor with a second. We have to vote here, right? So there was some discussion, and there's still some uncertainty in the details of that lease extension, but it appears that the general consensus I got from this meeting is not only did they want the agreement just to stay as is through that December of 2026, but Chris, some of the people speaking, pilots and people that want hangars, urged the city against taking over control of the Camdenton Airport in regards to preferring a private run FBO in regards to a city or municipal FBO. And there was some even mudslinging from people talking about, like, look at the Lee Fine Airport. We would much rather fly into Camdenton Airport because it's private, not run by the city. You have better staff, you have better upkeep, you have better amenities. And so that was the consensus I got. I wasn't 100% sure what that meant in regards to Lake Aviation's extension, so I reached out to the city. And Tuesday morning, City Administrator Jeff Hooker said that this lease extension with Lake Aviation will be in an ordinance. It'll come in the form of an ordinance at the October 7th meeting for a reading and then a vote. So it'll come in the form of an ordinance, that extension. So their plans are, yes, to extend Lake Aviation through December of 2026. And then it did look like the city, as you alluded to last week, does have the intentions at that point in time to take over the operations for the Camdenton Airport.
Yeah, when we sat down and talked with the mayor and his staff a couple of weeks ago, they said, okay, so it seems to us like this is a moneymaker for us. If the city takes over the airport, we can make a lot of revenue for the city doing that. Hopefully that is true, but that seemed to be their motivation, and they seem to be pretty confident that they can hire a manager that can run that airport and do a good job of it and, maintain a high quality there. Obviously, all of that is yet to be seen. We'll see if that is the way that turns out. I think it's inevitable that this is going to happen. Camdenton wants to take back over control of the airport. They used to do it. From what I've heard, they did a great job. Somebody had passed away and they needed to hire a company to step in and run it for them for a while, but they want to take it back over, and they're going to do it. Let's just hope that they do it in a good, smooth way.
And one other thing that was brought up at the meeting was 2 individuals who would qualify and like to put the bid in for operations of the Camdenton Airport spoke and said, hey, we were under the impression, based on further or previous discussions, that if there was a change in management, that we were the ones that would get the job.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to extend with Corey and Lake Aviation, we want that opportunity. And Corey Lewerke actually gave an endorsement for these individuals and said, I'm fine if it's not going to be me. It can't be city run. Like, I know it seems like there's a lot of money to be made, but at what cost? Like, instead of pocketing profits, we'd like to have additional staff. We'd like to have better facilities. And pilots spoke in regards to that, saying, yes, we want a private run airport. And when you take over a FBO, there's a lot more that goes into it. And so there were just pilots and people who were urging, and it did appear, just based on the body language and the way I saw City Administrator Jeff Hooker, that he feels like he has crossed these bridges, that he has looked into this, and he seems to have a fairly good plan. And as you said, yeah, it will kind of see, especially as we get closer to the end of 2026, as that contract with Lake Aviation is set to expire.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how the transition goes. If Corey Lewerke and Lake Aviation is willing to help train whoever the city hires to take over and run the airport, we don't know how that's going to run. This has all caused a lot of bad blood in Camdenton, and I mean, between the city and the airport people and the city and the Chamber of Commerce, and hopefully that can be smoothed over and go back to a good working relationship. But there's been some choppy water here the last few months.
Yeah, that was one of those bullets that was added to that lease extension, was the training of the new operations. And Corey Lewerke said, like, I already told you, I'm willing to do that and want this to go down well. I want this, put this behind us, and I want things to be clear. I want it to be smooth. Like, I know no one wins if we're at odds. And he said, but I'm not comfortable with the verbiage as far as 7 months worth of full training of your new staff. So that was one of the things that, was in there. But again, we'll keep you posted